I'll have a motherfucking breakdown live. It'll be fine. I love how panicked you look when I say that, and we go live, and I'm like, well, I'll have a motherfucking breakdown. And you're like, fucking.
Okay. I mean, the title is apt. What is happening? Absolutely. What is?
Yeah. What's happening, Sean? What's happening?
We're having a podcast. Well, welcome to Waking Up. Glad you guys are here. I love those kinds of See, Kevin and I just talk about pancakes in the chat. It's fine.
Oh. No, it's fine. I was actually in a very good mood. If you want to know what it's like to have a mental illness, especially one that like you fucking like can change your emotions like that, it literally goes from 0 to I'm really livid in like 0.3 seconds, and it's nobody's fault. And I'm not taking it out on Sean. Sean honestly didn't do anything. Like I was fine.
Which is rare, but it's true.
Until he fucking opens his mouth. Like, my fucking... Did you take your meds today?
I did.
It was just like... So I'm getting ready, and I'm running like a little late because I'm like, okay, I need to do the dishes. So because there was like a huge pause, so I did the dishes, and there's like, okay, I got 5 minutes left. It's fine. Yeah. So then I get here, and for those of you who don't know, I have this I have the extra large, like big and tall computer chair. Just because of the way I sit, like it allows me to sit cross-legged, but it has these like armrests, but the armrests don't fucking move. So when I did my new setup, I have to do diagonal. And so when I scooted up, spilled my coffee everywhere. That was number one. Then I'm trying to log in, but I already had Streamlabs going. And so it wasn't picking up on motherfucking Twitch because God forbid I actually open one program before the other one because I don't know, like Twitch is all like, nah, you open them first. We're not going to pick up your camera. And so, oh my God, so I have to shut everything down so I can open Twitch first because it's a poosty bitch. And then it's this whole, then Sean logs on and every freaking week it's his goddamn camera. I don't know what how is it that you work in computers every day? How is it that you have every time? It's like, I don't understand. So... 0 to very pissed off in like 8.2 seconds. And yeah, I'm using every skill in my toolbox right now to just it's fine. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Waking Up.
Good morning.
I am Marugs. I'm about to have a meltdown. It's fine. There's a difference. There's a breakdown and then there's meltdown. I'm about to have a meltdown. That's fine. It's cool. We're going to hold on to that. With me is my co-host, Sean. That's fine. You know what I feel like? You know what I feel like right now? I feel like one of those black cats, like in Fallout, like you touch it and you're like, "Arr!" Like it gets like all that growly and stuff. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I am the black cat that is like, please don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. I will fucking maul your face off. Like.
It may not be your fault, but you're gonna catch these paws.
Yeah, that. So bring your golden retriever energy, Sean. Bring it. Come on. I am looking for a reason.
It's those two cats were the ones going pop 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 pop.
All right, let's get this disclaimer out of the way.
We're all waking up.
Speaking, yeah, you're right. Here on Waking Up, we are not here to bash anybody's faith or religion. We think faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy manner. We are not mental health professionals. Anything said on this podcast is our own personal opinion, our personal experiences, and just our opinions. If you do need professional help, we do have resources that we can provide for you to help you get in touch with those who are professionals, who are trained to get you the help that you need. Sean and I grew up in the Carolinas. We grew up Southern Baptist, which for those of you who don't know, Southern Baptist apparently has become probably the most right-wing evangelical bullshit motherfuckers that I've ever met in my entire life. But I mean, they were pretty bad in the 90s and 2000s. They really bad now. So yeah, it's Billy Graham territory. We grew up in the buckle of the Bible Belt, which we often got beaten with. So that's fine. Yeah.
And the wooden spoon.
And the wooden spoon. That was a southern mama's like go to is the wooden spoon.
Because they had a bunch of them. They were all in that container sitting up on the stove.
Yeah, I feel like wooden spoon was the southern mamas and the belt was the northern mamas. Like you know what I mean? Like I feel like that because I very rarely got the belt, but I got those motherfucking wooden spoons.
Mm-hmm. I got both. I got the belt from Dad and the spoon from Mom.
Well, yeah.
So my dad had that thick leather belt, the kind that made that sound when it cleared the belt loops.
I know that sound.
Man,
I like that sound.
That's a traumatizing sound.
That's not a traumatizing sound. That's a difference. Maybe it's because I didn't get beaten with the belt.
That could be it. Yeah.
I don't know, but I like paddles too. So that's different.
See, wooden spoon into paddle.
But see,
the belt loop.
But see, that's the difference. The wooden spoon's got that sting, that sharp sting. I don't like the sharp sting. I don't. So that's why I like the paddle because I never got a paddle growing up either. So I like the thud of the impact, but not necessarily that sharp like sting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you. I'm not a big fan of the stinging either. So
no.
I used to get the paddle across the hands and the arms. Is what usually where Mom hit. Dad had the aim perfected, like right that perfect place on the legs. Yeah, that was my childhood. The belt and spoon. That did not turn into a kink for me.
Well, you don't have nearly as much trauma in that department as I do, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's very different.
Anything within reach. Yeah, yardstick happened a couple times. I never got the Switch.
Okay, so I titled the show because I was pissed off. See, and this is what happens. See, in case you wanted to know what it's like to have an emotional mental illness like I do with BPD, I'm okay now. Like I regulated myself. So it's like I'm still a little irritated, but it's like it's fine. And so a lot of people actually take that as a whole like, oh, you're just, but no, that's the nature of it. Like I can get very emotional very quickly and then get regulated really quickly depending on what the emotion is and how bad it is. So then it makes it seem like, like I should, it becomes very disorienting. Yeah, it becomes very disorienting if you're not aware of it. It does become very like. Luckily, I'm in this place where I could get irritated because if I not had the skills that I had from therapy, I would have gotten irritated. I gotten pissed off because I was pissed off over like little things. Like I was livid, not but like 5 minutes ago. But I had the skills to go, okay, this is just, none of this is a big deal. Like in my head, I'm going through the skills and the tools in my toolkit. So I'm trying to regulate and de-escalate myself. But before, I would have just ridden that pissed off train until I cried. Like it sucks. It sucks. It's exhausting. And it's exhausting for the people around you because they don't know what's going on. They have no idea. They don't understand why you're so mad. Like, I don't understand why I'm so mad either. I'm just mad. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
yeah.
Do you get emotional at all? What's some like?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I have my own spikes. Like it feels like an uncontrollable rage, just livid.
Rage.
Rage. That absolutely does happen to me, and I have to be careful not to lash out myself because I'm very apt to do that because I'm feeling I've all this rage, this energy builds up, and I don't know what to do with it. And so it becomes easy to try to lash out to try to have that energy escape. For me, a couple things that send me into that is when tech is supposed to work and it just doesn't, and it does not make any sense. Like you do it works 99 times, and then one time it suddenly doesn't, and no idea why. Yeah, you know how that goes, don't you? You familiar with that? You familiar with
What?
that?
No,
Yeah.
I know. Fucking clue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably calling me out is probably not the good thing. I'm still trying to
Oh,
de-escalate.
sorry,
So
sorry,
yeah,
my bad.
yeah. Go
Well,
ahead,
yeah,
Sean. Go ahead.
okay,
You know,
sorry.
it's entertainment for the masses. They live for that shit. It's fine.
Also, when my body temperature, when I feel like my body temperature increases dramatic, it feels like dramatically or drastically, like embarrassment. Embarrassment, like I can feel my entire body just like all of a sudden I'm Fantastic Four, I'm flamed on. Like I just feel
Are you
this
flaming?
heat. Not that way. Not that way.
I
I mean a
mean,
vibe, but yeah. So I mean it gets worse. But yeah, my body temperature, I feel it just rise. And that puts me on edge. I immediately go on edge when that happens, and like it can come from a lot of time it comes from embarrassment, or I screwed up really bad, and I know I screwed up really bad,
and you get angry.
and it's not necessarily anger, but I'm on the edge of it. Like if someone says something wrong, I could lash out because that like I feel like I'm very much on edge at that point. Like when I feel that temperature, that my body temperature rise like that, I'm not okay.
Tell
So
me you have
I'm
golden boy trauma without telling me you have golden boy trauma.
right?
Like nobody likes to fuck up, but
Yeah.
like angry edging.
Yeah.
I mean, facts.
That's true.
I think the thing is like, now that we're in therapy, okay, now that you're in therapy, like, here's like, I don't know about you. Maybe I'm okay. So when we were growing up in the church, regardless of how the feelings were, whatever the feelings were, not the thoughts, the feelings, we were just told to basically ignore it. We were told to just pray about it. If you're feeling anything other than peace and happiness,
you shouldn't feel this way.
Shouldn't feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't feel jealous. Don't be envious.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be lustful.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be angry. Be slow to anger. Slow to anger. Like, oh, look, it's my turn to traumatize Sean now. How's that trigger for you? How's that slow to anger, rich to love? How's that quick to love? How's that?
I am not slow to anger. See, I may be slow to anger externally, unless of course it's like you who can read me like a book.
Oh, thanks, Nerdy Will.
Hey, Nerdy Will. I internalize. See, most of the time I internalize that anger first, so it kind of boils up for me, and then it goes sometimes it goes external, sometimes it doesn't, or it comes out in a passive aggressive way.
What?
I know, right?
What?
That's a surprise, shocker. You had no idea.
Okay, in case you don't know, in case for those of you who don't know, Sean over there is the passive aggressive champ. He is the gold medalist of passive aggression. Like gold medalist. Like it is so like it's so good that a lot of people don't pick up on it. Like a lot of people who aren't aware, but like I nail it every single time. I'm go, first off, you get back the fuck up. He's like, what do you mean? I was like,
if you've ever seen Big Bang Theory, when like Leonard and Sheldon are making fun of one of Penny's boyfriends, and they're like they're making these jokes that the guy doesn't get, but they're insulting him and he doesn't get it. That's kind of what I am. Not that the other person is stupid, but that I will say things, that passive aggressive things or jokes that I know are insulting, but the other person may not realize it.
Tell me you're toxic as fuck without telling me you're toxic as fuck. I mean,
I've tried really hard not to do that anymore. Because for the longest time, I didn't see that as toxic. I saw that as just how you deal with it.
You're just being smart. You're just a non-confrontational. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you wonder why your communication was very confusing because you didn't understand, because they should have known. I mean,
I said it plain as day. Yeah.
You make me
Oh,
want to
all
rip my
right. I'm
face
fine.
off
It's
some days.
fine. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But yeah.
No,
Um.
Sean gets really like, yeah, passive aggressive. Like, not.
I can. Yeah, and it can be both physical and verbal. I like sometimes it's slamming of the drawers, the cabinets, um, setting loud, jarring things that communicate to someone that I'm not okay
Oh, that's
because
again not toxic as fuck.
I know, yeah, it's so because I wasn't able um at the time because I wasn't able to communicate that I'm not okay about something because it wasn't simple for me to go. It was simple, but for me, it was that as simple as going, "Hey, something's bothering me. Can we talk about it?" I would do passive aggressive things until the other person went, "Okay, what's wrong? Something's wrong." That's not healthy. Not healthy at all.
Then he brought me back into his life.
And she went, "No, you're
I
not
went,
doing any of that."
nah, motherfucker, here we go. Like, no, we gotta.
Or she'd be like, "You can be passive aggressive all you want, but I ain't responding to it."
No, you can be passive aggressive all you want. I'm gonna call you an asshole the entire time.
That
Like,
too. Yeah.
don't come at me with that shit.
Yeah.
But how, like,
So
I don't know about you, but like we were taught to ignore these feelings. We were taught to ignore these negative feelings. And so now in therapy, like I'm still like, I'm having to start a new therapist, y'all. My this is the third therapist that I will have had in a year. And you would think that, oh,
that's
you're
tough.
running them off. I am not. Both of my other therapists, they went on to get other opportunities, they're human and great opportunities for them. They were told, like, they've told me about it. And luckily I was able to keep my very first therapist as my life coach. So luckily she's still like around, but like, again, they have both great opportunities for themselves and I'm not faulting them for that, but it's just like, having to go through that goddamn process of here, let me, and you meet these therapists in different parts of your healing journey. So like Rachel, my first therapist, like she met me at like my worst. I was like fucking just shambles. And then Luke, this current therapist, like she met me in this, like, okay, now we're going to, I'm not in a critical state anymore, but I still have a bunch of trauma that I need to work on. And we started working on that. And now this new therapist is going to meet me in an even different place. And it's like, I don't think I've ever met a therapist, started therapy in a place that I am like right now. Because usually, like even with Luke, I was already healed. I was already better. I was regulated. So I didn't need to go to therapy anymore, right? I didn't really need it. So starting therapy over with a new therapist, it just is, sometimes I have that feeling of, am I bad enough to keep going to therapy? Am I bad enough?
I'm not in a crisis
right.
now. Yeah. Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah, I'm not in a crisis. I'm not in a crisis. My life isn't falling apart. I mean, I know that there's shit I've got to work on. I know that there's shit and trauma that's still buried under there. I know there's stuff I need to deal with. I know that because of my mental illnesses that I need to continue on with the work that I'm doing because it is important to keep up with that, because everyday stressor is what for somebody who doesn't have what I have, it is a lot easier to navigate for them than it would be for me. And so it's like, okay, I'm gonna, because I briefly considered not, it's like, okay, maybe I just don't need therapy right now. And I'm like, but I do. Because the moment I say that, the moment I don't go find a new therapist, the moment I don't, take care of myself and my care, is the moment that I am going to get into a dysregulated, critical emergency state, mentally and emotionally, and I'm not going to have anybody. And then it's almost like I'm starting all over from scratch. I'm starting over in a place where I'm not okay. So, but
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because like ADD, sorry, I went off on that tangent, but I say that because current Luke, my second therapist, the one I've just been working with, we were talking about anger and what is anger and how anger manifests itself in me. and how often I don't express anger because I'm afraid of it.
Ooh.
And so, like, I understand it's like, but I don't know. Anger manifests itself in me in so many different ways
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know what's going on. I don't like, I don't, it's like, and anger is, in fact, anger is a secondary emotion.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who aren't aware, anger is a secondary emotion. So it's like, okay, what is happening? I'm angry. So that's what it's like. The thing is, I'm angry. I'm angry at whatever it is. I got irritated. I got angry. I got that person or whatever. But there's being angry. And then there's why am I angry? What is happening? What is happening that is triggering this anger? And is it
Mm-hmm.
like all feelings are justified?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm allowed to be angry. But what's the primary emotion to that anger?
Yeah. And that's not always evident right away.
Ooh, do you want to take this one, Sean?
Oh, okay. So a secondary emotion is they tend to be they're the strong ones. They are usually the emotion that is very easy to recognize.
Ooh,
Like
sorry.
anger.
Sorry, folks.
Are you whoa,
I
wow,
didn't
you're
mean to.
jumping
I
in.
was grabbing something. I told you, Slobs is being a bitch
It
today.
does. Yeah, I've had that
Slobs
issue.
is being
Okay.
a bitch today.
So the secondary emotion is the one that is
Calvino, shut up. I love you for that.
Calvino.
I love you. I love you for that. But shut up.
Oh my god. So it is not the emotion that you feel um initially. It is the byproduct of something else that you feel. Like um jealousy can be well jealousy can be that first emotion before anger. It is the emotion that you have to question, what am I angry? Am I angry because something's unjust, something's unfair? Why is that? Where's that coming from? What am I trying to protect? What do I feel has been slighted, or someone has done something wrong? Something is not right in my life, but where is that coming from? What is it? And it's anger is usually the emotion that happens second, not the one that happens to begin with.
My anger, huh? No, yeah, I'm listening.
Oh,
A lot of times my anger comes from, it's that fight or flight response. It's
mm-hmm.
that fear. It's a lot of it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of typically, I can't speak for males, I get, but Sean, like maybe you can back me up. But a lot, like it's when a lot of times when men feel sad or scared, instead of expressing that fear, they're going to express anger. Anger is a
Yes.
very simple emotion to express. It's an easier emotion to express.
It's easier to access. A lot of times it's easier to access because men have experience accessing anger. It comes to us very quickly. Part of that reason is because it's acceptable for men to be angry. So as when you're younger and you're trying to deal with your emotions and understand what emotion you're coming up, anger is the one that is acceptable. We're not, as men, we're not allowed to be sad. We're not allowed to cry. So growing up, I learned to access my anger quickly. And even though I internalized it, that's still the emotion I accessed.
Exactly. Right.
And so that's where I went. So if I thought something was unfair, if I was, as you said, a fear is a very strong one. I'm afraid of something. And so but I don't know how to deal with that fear. I don't know how to dig into that fear and work through it. And so to express it, to deal with it, I get angry because it's easier for me to project that anger, to be angry and project that somewhere than it is for me to think about, okay, so let me talk to that part of me that's feeling that way. Like I don't know how to, I don't have the skills to, I don't have the language to. And so that's what comes out.
I have a dot on my monitor, and it's like right over my face. So I keep thinking that there's something
Oh
on my
god.
face.
Like
I'm like, I'm over here
almost got a
like,
dead pixel. You're like, what? Oh God, that's awful. Yeah, toxic masculinity stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not anything that I don't think that's anger has its place, and I think I've been talking about that a lot with my former therapist. I don't know. Anyway, my therapist. Let's just call her my therapist till I start my new one. And anger has its place, but why am I afraid of it? Like, why am I afraid of my anger? And because anytime I was angry or upset and I accessed that emotion, I always got in trouble. And so what happened is, and we talked about parts, I ignore the anger for so long that by the time I do allow myself to access that anger and express that anger, it becomes volatile. It becomes into a place where it just explodes. This, like, finally, you know how, like, everybody, when you get ignored long enough, you get frustrated and you just like, I've had fucking enough, and it just goes over the top. That's sort of how I am with my anger, because women aren't supposed to be angry. You're supposed to be understanding.
Yes.
You're not supposed to. Yeah. And whereas in, like, men, that's an acceptable emotion. That's not an acceptable emotion for me. Don't be angry. Have you tried smiling more? Be sweet. I need you to.
Oh, wow.
I need you, like,
Yeah, that's rough.
You need to have a little bit more understanding. Maybe you just don't understand. No, maybe you're being a toxic motherfucker and I'm allowed to be angry at you because you're doing toxic shit to me. But I don't know how to process, like, anger as a healthy emotion. And a lot of people think, and I think that's the other thing, a lot of people think that anger is an unhealthy emotion, but it's not. Anger is a very healthy emotion. There's a reason it's in Inside Out too. There's a reason it's one of the main base characters of that is from childhood. Anger is a very healthy emotion that we need to function. But how many times do we ignore anger because we're not supposed to be angry?
Yes.
Why not?
That's absolutely. I feel that. It's the emotion. It's one of the emotions that I would get angry, but then I'd talk myself into why I'm not. You shouldn't be angry. You don't have a reason to be angry. There's no reason to be angry. Like, it's not a big deal. And so I intellectualize and I diminish my feeling that emotion.
But you're always that without all of your emotions, though.
Yeah.
Is there emotion you don't intellectualize, even your happiness?
Oh, ouch! Way to call me out in the question.
That was not an intentional call out. That was a genuine question of actually inquiry. Is there an emotion that you don't intellectualize, even the comfortable, happy ones?
See, that's the point. That's the thing that kind of hit me in your question was, like, because I do intellectualize even the happy ones. Like, how many times why I shouldn't feel this way spans all the emotions, because I will sit there and be in a moment of, yeah, things are going good, and my brain will go, are you sure about that? Because give me a second and I can fix it. Like, what? No, wait, what are you doing? No, stop. Oh, you're happy now. Let me fix that for you.
Bitch, now you're calling me out. I don't need you talking about my last 5 therapy sessions. I don't need that shit in my life.
Yeah, you ever go to therapy, think things are good, and then by the end of it, yeah.
And Nerdy Will, I actually, here's something to ponder as a nerd and as somebody, just something, hey, a query for you to think about. Spock was half human. The whole reason Spock struggled was because he was half human. And remember that if you, because I'm a Star Trek nerd, here we go.
That's a nerd flag fly.
Vulcans actually feel everything more intensely, which is why they have overcompensated with logic. It is not that they don't feel the emotion. It is just that they have trained themselves and their bodies and their way of life into being able to logic their way out of all emotion because it's so intense. So Spock had that trouble because he was half human. So he felt those emotions, but it as somebody who's it wasn't the logical ability, though he was logical, he still wasn't it wasn't as strong. That logic wasn't nearly as strong. So if his character throughout the entire franchise is all about Spock's struggle with remaining true to his logical side, but a lot of his decisions, if you think about it, were illogical and they were emotional based. They were all based on emotion, which is why he struggled, which is what made him an in-depth, complex character, and actually one of the ones that a lot of people, which is why a lot of people gravitated towards Spock being more than Kirk, more than anybody. Who's the one character out of the entire Star Trek Enterprise, franchise, that people know about? Live long and prosper. It is Spock. Everybody knows Spock. Why? Because a lot of people relate to him. Because he was stuck in between these two ideologies of logic, the Vulcan logic versus the human emotion. And it was a battle the entire show, through the entire, no matter what movie, TV show, any ideation, any of the Spock character, every single one is a warring dynamic within himself between his logic side and his emotional side. So when people say, hey, I'm Spock, I'm all logical about my emotions. No, you're very Vulcan about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Spock,
which is about suppression of it.
Right. Spock was the one who was like, I'm trying to find and navigate my world and embrace and accept two very different worlds that still make up who I am.
I think people gravitate towards Spock. They want to emulate Spock because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. So they would rather they see it. I think what you just said is very profound. They see it as the Vulcan side. I'm just going to cut it off. I'm just going to say, I'm just not going to worry. I'm going to become stoic. They see that's really what they're looking for, is to be stoic and to not have to. I don't want to deal with my emotions. The problem with someone who tries to cut off all emotion is you can't just cut off some emotion. You pretty much cut off all emotion. You cut off the good ones too. And so all of the very profound, positive, wonderful feelings, you don't really feel those. You pretty much flatline everything. You suppress everything. That's a dangerous game.
The people who try to logic emotion. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, because you're you're a person that I can't logic emotion. Like I have to use logic. I have to use just the facts to regulate myself because my emotions, we are literally the embodiment of emotion mind and logic mind. Like we are the embodiment of that.
We're inside out in a way.
Well, yeah, for DBT. And so we're trying to find the meet in the middle. But I think so many people take those emotions and that logic and they see emotions as messy.
Yes.
Because emotions don't always make sense.
That right there. Yes.
Emotions don't always make sense.
And they have a need for everything to make sense. They want everything to make sense.
And those are the people that are the first to go, I don't understand. This doesn't make sense.
It needs to make sense because they need to exert control. I want it to make sense because then I have some semblance of control over it. If it can make sense to me, then I can deal with it and keep it from happening, or talk myself out of
to accept that emotions don't always make sense. Emotions are valid. There is and I want to say that out. All emotions are valid, regardless of whether they make logical sense. So it's one of those things that is very difficult for those who are black and white thinkers to accept. This feeling of, I don't understand why I'm angry, but I am angry. Regardless of whether I understand where it came from or why I'm angry, I'm angry. That doesn't make me bad or wrong. That doesn't make my response, how I respond to that emotion, yes, is where I'm responsible. But all emotions, regardless of where they come from, are valid. Whether they make sense or not.
And they don't have to make sense.
But they do. But to logical people, they do.
They have to. Yeah, absolutely. There has to be a reason. And I become fixated when that happens. I become fixated on identifying that. Hey, Eric meme. It's actually afternoon. It's afternoon for us, or for me.
It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock where I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. Yeah. I gotta understand.
Hello.
Hey, Sukataz. I don't know I'm not sure if I pronounced.
Oh my god! You know what though? Spock is very fascinating. Now we brought up Spock. Now I'm odd. My ADD nerdy brain is like right there. We were talking about Inside Out. Now we're talking about Star Trek. Now I'm here because first off, I am ready for Strange New Worlds newest season to come out. I'm ready for that. I thought they left on that cliffhanger, but hi. Good morning. So yeah, I think it's so many people, like, I don't know. I don't understand the logic part of it. Like if I were going to be a Star Trek character, if I was going to compare myself to anyone, I would have to. I'm ready for the podcast. Yay. Like if I had to be like anyone, like, I don't know who I'd be. Who's like super like emotional? It would have to be Kirk. It would have to be.
Burnham. If you want to go Discovery, it'd be Michael Burnham.
Oh, yeah. You right.
She is very
you
much
right. She is a control. Oh, and you know what? And you want to know what? They grew up as siblings. Spock and Michael Burnham grew up as siblings, and look how different they are.
Absolutely. Yes. No, you're fine. Yeah, that's it. They're very the foils. They are such foils.
Yeah.
So, I had a thought a moment ago and I lost it. When we started talking about Michael Burnham, I was like, wait.
Michael Burnham.
Yeah, no, I was thinking logical mind and emotional mind.
Yeah.
When I'm in therapy, when my therapist brings it up, he almost always
Worf. Yeah. Yes. The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when he comes back in Picard.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful moment.
It was such a great thing when he came back in Picard. Yes.
So when my therapist brings up like logical and emotional mind, like he almost always has me go emotional, because he knows if I go logical, that will overshadow everything. Even if I go to a logical first and then I try to go to emotional, it's not going to happen. The logical is just going to consume everything. I get stuck there. So he always says, okay, we're going to go with the emotional. I know it's like that kind. We're dorks. Yeah, so that's where he has me go. And the biggest struggle for me is differentiating intellectualization versus accepting my emotions. Because like I had the hardest time trying to understand how to do what is the difference. Because I've intellectualized my emotions for so long. And so now it's accepting that emotion exists. That is really difficult. What?
Sorry, it's just so weird. It's just so weird how opposite we are in that because of my because everything is emotional for me. Everything. Like I have to go to logic mind. I have to go to just the facts when it comes to when it comes to regulation and it comes to all mine emotions. I mean, if it's emotional, there's always data. Oh, why are you gonna emotionally scar me like that this early? Why are you gonna do that, Jay? Emotions are the only thing that hold us back, but are emotions the thing that are evolving us?
Ooh, yeah. Emotions aren't bad things.
They are not. Emotions are.
That's another thing. That just the terminology that I've had to learn. So for me, anger, jealousy, those are bad emotions, and I would often refer to them as bad or negative.
Comforting. I know. Diana and Troy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's what I should have known. That's what I should have known I was by when I was going to do number one and Diana and Troy at the same time. I should have known back when I was like 10 years old that I was like, I should have known. I should have known.
The flags were there. The signs were all there.
I was like, but but I have to go to emotion mind, and I have to to logic brain, because I have to go, why am I this? I am overwhelmed by this emotion. What is okay? What are the facts? And having to tell myself, okay, this emotion is based out of something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is true. My feeling is valid, but it is not the truth. And that's so fucking hard. Oh no, you're good.
Oh, Eric,
we're all neurodivergent here. We're all neurodivergent here. It's fine. You good, boo boo.
Absolutely. And we do the same thing. I have ADD, so it is not uncommon for me to hit something and just to go on and on, on and on and on. We're sitting here like,
No, since you're new here, like our community, we have all embraced, like we all are neurodivergent in some way, shape, or form, so it's very much we embrace all the spectrum. Like seriously, yes. Hyper focus, like it. Yeah. Well, actually, I was thinking the other day, I was like, "Ooh, I haven't learned a new skill in a while." You know that itch, that neurodivergent itch of like. Let's not go back to the skill I already know and learn how to be better at it. No, I need a new skill. As Jay called it, skill collectors. We're skill collectors.
Skill collectors. No, it's I need a new skill. I need to know every piece of equipment, every tool that I could possibly need for that, and I need to go buy it.
Yes. That
is the neuro spicy through and through.
Yeah.
What's the cool thing? What's the tool? And where do I go to get it?
Yes.
All of it. All of it. Yes. Yes. Want to pick up C there? Yeah, absolutely. So.
Well, yes, but welcome. Welcome, Eric. Yeah, welcome. You're welcome here. There's nothing that, as long as you're respectful to other people's opinions, and even if it's opposite of ours, I think that's the one thing I do love so much about our community and Team AoA in general. It's like, even if they have opposing opinions, it's okay. It's okay with, it's okay to have opposing opinions as long as you're respectful. Just be respectful. That's okay.
Absolutely. We don't expect you to agree. We like when other people bring things up, when people bring things up that potentially disagree, whatever especially if it's your experience. My experience with this thing is I don't understand this, and bring up different ideas and different opinions. Absolutely. I'm going to butcher your name, Sikutez. I'm sorry. I don't know. But he says emotions are weakness. They are holding humanity back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. I'm terrible. I mispronounce my own name half the time, so I'm sorry. But so yes, I have heard that several times. That camp of if we just removed emotions. Oh, okay.
He's hit my trauma right now. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's because
I know.
I've had my last name mispronounced from the moment I was born. Like so, like it's so but like there's that camp of like let's remove all emotions. That's how we evolve. But then
Yeah.
like I don't sit in that camp, but I can absolutely understand why people would feel that way. And that's that. I mean, their argument is not wrong. I don't think. I just don't subscribe to that camp. I think emotions as because I am an emotional person, I don't think that it is holding me back, but I think that that is one of those things that it adds that color. I think emotions don't hold humanity back. I think it adds the depth. I think that the intellectualization, ooh, that's a big one.
Yes, intellectualization.
Intellectualization
Yeah.
moves us
Yes.
forward, and the emotions bring the depth, and you have to have that. It's like speed and speed and velocity, that type of thing. So there's that. I can't talk.
Think... No, you're fine.
But
I think it's about perspective. Honestly, less emotions would always be better for a man. See, and that is some people believe that. I thought that for a long time, but I've learned that the lack of emotions. I think I said this a few minutes ago, possibly before you joined, is that the the lack of emotion affects both sides, the comfortable and uncomfortable emotions. And so if you try to remove the uncomfortable emotions, the side effect is you tend to remove the comfortable emotions, the emotions that most people would say is positive, the joy. Like you don't experience any, you tend to experience low amounts of that as opposed to the full
yeah,
living
but
it
just
fully.
think about how we wouldn't have to worry about war. Like I think about that too, and I can see that camp as well.
Yeah.
Like Fallout
But
never happens. And
so
we get Star Trek. Fallout never
yeah.
happens, and we get Star Trek because it's all about
But
humanity
how,
and sharing everything.
but would life be worth living without it? Yes, we would live, but would it be worth living? So think about this. What if we didn't have choices? What if we couldn't make choices? Well, if we didn't have
We
choices,
were
that would mean
Christians. We didn't have choices.
well, that's true. But
We're
and ha-
ex-Christians. We didn't
and
have choices for about most of our lives.
and how did that work out for us?
I mean, facts. But like we're not gonna go.
Whew, there's a lot of religious trauma, both sides of this episode, this podcast right here.
We're flip-flopping. It's
Uh,
fine. It's a juggling
yeah,
act.
a lot of people do admire. That's why Spock. So many people gravitate, empathize with Spock. They emulate Spock. Ex Christian. You're in a
Welcome
good place.
to our
Welcome.
deconstructive podcast.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
You in the right
Um,
place.
you're absolutely in the right place. Yeah, it's because they see it the same way. Um, but I intellect for anyone who doesn't know what intellectualization is. It is the explaining away. It is the taking all emotion and trying to move it into a logical space. And it is not about experiencing the emotion. It is about explaining it away. I shouldn't feel this way because I'm only feeling this because it's creating logic around and wrapping this emotion, encompassing it in logic, and putting it off to the side. There's I don't have a right to feel this way. It is minimizing.
I always joked, folks. I always joked that Sean has Pep has a storage locker. Like how like if in case you're not familiar, internal family systems about parts. Like I'm pretty sure that there is a part of his brain that is a storage locker, and you just open it up, and like there's like all these little boxes that he just puts in there, and he just closes the door, and it's climate controlled so they don't rot.
They just sit there
Yeah.
for a long time. Yeah,
And how he unpacks
absolutely.
is every therapy session, he opens it up and his therapist reaches in and just grabs a box. Like that's what I
That's
imagine your
that's the way it
therapist
feels
sessions are like.
pretty much. Yeah, I've been talking about something, and he goes, "Let's pause there for a moment." He reaches in and grabs it, and goes, "Tell me about this one. What does this one mean?"
Isn't that a smoke
Um,
reincarnated?
Emotional literate who's somehow more evolved than Spock because of his artist. But what does Spock want to do? What is Spock's what is his seem to be his ultimate goal is to become to have emotions. He is jealous that data is jealous because data doesn't have emotion. That's what he seeks out, is he seeks out the emotion because he's jealous that he doesn't have it. That he sees all of these people around him having, yes, they have uncomfortable emotions, but they also have these very comfortable emotions, this love and affection and he doesn't have any of that.
Oh yeah,
So
the best example is in Picard. That one episode in Picard where when Data does all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, thanks for the follow.
Yeah. That is this whole conversation. I find it is very interesting. The difference between emotion and logic, and which direction we lean, and why we lean that direction, and who we emulate and gravitate towards.
And yet we're all trying to get the middle, that nice little wise mind. And for those of you who have never done dialectical behavior therapy, you're working towards that wise mind. You're working towards the middle of that Venn diagram, and that trying to get there is so freaking hard.
Yeah. It is. That's our goal.
You okay there, Chief?
Yeah, I'm good. Talking about emotions is difficult for me. It can be very difficult. That's I mean, go look at some of the early iterations of our podcast.
They on YouTube because Twitch doesn't always keep it on there, but they on YouTube. You go to Nerd Mom Ace, it's all on YouTube. There you go. We talk about sorts of stuff.
My therapy sessions are all about understanding, identifying that emotion. Almost every session for the longest time, almost every one of my sessions had the color wheel right there on the screen. You'd be like, let's take a look at not the color wheel, the emotion wheel. It would have the emotion wheel right up on the screen and go, so let's figure out what emotion that is.
So. No, Calvino. No, we can't.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like trying to nail Jill's in the wall. Yes. Yeah.
What I find interesting is sometimes when I'm looking at an emotion wheel, which if you're not familiar with it, you can Google it. Is sometimes I will think I've like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's the emotion that I'm feeling, and it's not. So. But yeah, trying to figure out, starting with the big one and then going. You're gonna bring it up, aren't you?
I have the emotion. Do you don't think I have the emotion wheel like on standby for every freaking episode?
Because you used to do that to me. All right, Peppa.
Here's the emotion. I have the emotion wheel up for. It is literally. I just hide it. It is up every single episode. There it is. Yes. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versions of this. So.
Oh my God! Yeah. Yep. And it is okay to not know. It is okay to not know. For me, it was like, I don't know what it is. He'd be like, it's fine. Like, try, explore it and see if you can. Because what the goal for the longest time, the goal for me was just don't dismiss it. If you don't know what it is, fine, but just accept it. Just accept I'm feeling an emotion. Okay, I'm feeling something, and it's okay to feel that, and just to sit in it, even if I don't know what it is.
So, how do I pronounce that? Do you know?
Pronounce what?
Sakutas? Is that it? Can I call you Suki? Is that okay? I want to get consent before I do that because I don't want to like butcher their name every single time. But I did. Okay, cool. Yay! I'm gonna.
Awesome.
That's how I got.
How did you pronounce it?
I don't remember.
That's why I asked.
Okay, just to let you know, like that's how I got to be called Aroogs because like literally the people who were my friends couldn't pronounce my first and last name together correctly, so they just like Aroogs. That's how my nickname came to be. But I don't know how you mispronounce Anna, but that's fine. Whatever.
Anna. That's how people Anna.
I was Anna before Anna existed, so it's fine. So they said it's okay to not have any of them, and that's true. Sometimes there are just you don't feel anything, and having to accept that for especially for somebody like me who is all emotion, who is mm,
Calvino, you're amazing. You're a scholar and a gentleman.
see, like,
So phonetic.
way
There you
to go. This is a team effort. But there are times where it's like I don't have an emotion. There's something happens, or somebody says
Mhm.
something, or maybe somebody shows up, or they whatever, and you don't feel anything. And that's really strange. That is a very just disorienting thing for me when I don't have an emotion about anything or something or a situation. There's no emotion to it. And because I'm so used to it. And that's okay too. And having to get into that place where don't go attaching emotions if you don't have one.
Ooh.
Don't go
Don't
having
make it
to,
up.
yeah, don't go forcing yourself to attach yourself to an emotion to something when there isn't one there. And that's
No.
okay. And it's sitting in that absence of emotion. That doesn't make you heartless. That doesn't make you selfish. That doesn't make you cruel. That doesn't make you any of these. Because in my head, shouldn't I be feeling something? Shouldn't I have an opinion? Shouldn't I have a feeling, a thought towards whatever this is? If I don't, I don't. Just like if I do, I do, regardless of what that emotion is. And that's like that was one of those I would judge myself all the time if there wasn't an emotion attached to something or someone.
You have an emotion about not having an emotion. You go on meta with it.
I go all crazy with it. I go all like, shouldn't I be feeling something? Why is it? Why?
Why am I not feeling anything? And then if you're not careful, you get upset for getting upset for not having an emotion.
And then you judge yourself, and then I end up in therapy with my therapist going, okay, we need to stop judging yourself. Let's use some grace and compassion. It's okay.
I get into those all the time. He's like, well, what are you feeling? So and so. Well, you know, how do you feel about that? I often get upset with myself for feeling emotions. I often get frustrated because I felt an emotion. And so
Really?
he's like, well, yeah. So what depends on what the emotion, like jealousy. For the longest time, jealousy is not an acceptable emotion for me. So I would be upset. I would be angry with myself for feeling jealous. And that is what my therapy. That is what he wants to deal with first. He wants to deal with that meta emotion, that emotion about the emotion first, until I get to the point where I'm accepting that I felt an emotion, kind of like observing that I had an emotion.
Calvino says, "Get out of my head, Pep."
It's the thing. I totally didn't realize it was a thing until my therapist talked.
Tell me you've been in toxic relationships tell me you've been in toxic relationships. That is the number one. I feel like that is the number one thing. How do you feel about jealousy? That will tell you everything you know about their dating history. When you're like, how do you feel about jealousy in yourself and other people? You want to skip over the whole dating. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Just go, how do you feel about jealousy in yourself and others? And that will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. How do you handle it when you feel jealous? When you feel jealousy? Oh man. Yeah. Jealousy is one of those things that I absolutely attempt to minimize. For the longest time is like, oh, that's an uncomfortable emotion. And nope. I can't, I have no reason to be jealous. For the longest time, I've had a very unhealthy relationship.
Oh,
Because
we could just stop. I think both you and I could stop it. We've had a very unhealthy relationship.
just period.
Just end.
Yup.
What does jealousy have to do with dating? That's interesting. Oh, jealousy is it comes up so often.
Yeah. It's some people don't like to think about the person they're dating and their exes, their history. So there's some people that have real trouble dealing with and accepting that the person they're dating has a history, especially if it's a history that makes them uncomfortable. like maybe goes against something that they believe is not okay. That can be, yeah, a lot of people run into that problem.
Well, let me explain what jealousy is, because jealousy and envy are two different things.
Yeah.
Envy is when somebody has something that you want. Okay. So, and you want that. Sean has a Lego set because Sean has a Lego podcast
Yes.
because Legos. So Sean has a Lego set that I want. Now I'm envious of that. I want that. I don't have that. I want that. That's envy. Jealousy is when you have something and you're afraid somebody else is going to take it from you. When you're afraid of losing whatever it is that you had. That's jealousy. Jealousy is when you are afraid that somebody else is going to take something away from you. Now, they feel very similar, but they are very different things.
That's a good point. I often mix the two of those up. I honestly I do. Yeah. And the reason that people don't like a lot of the history sometimes is because they're afraid that that can play a role in the current
Yeah.
situation when it may have nothing to do with it.
Oh, we mix up emotions all the time. It's
All
like
the time.
it's just throw it
Yeah.
in there and stir. It's fine. Like, hey, you good? Like, because emotions are so blended. They are blended. Just like you don't ever get one very pure emotion. In all honesty, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Jealousy was not an emotion that I was okay conveying, because jealousy for me, I viewed. I'm sorry,
Calvino.
what?
Calvino. What do you guys
Okay,
need?
what? Come
What do you guys
again?
need?
Oh my
Do-
God, y'all are conspiring against me.
I got
Do
you.
not touch the Legos. You can add to the
Oh,
Lego collection.
I touch your Legos all the time. Have you figured out what I've
I
changed?
know.
Have you figured
I
out what
know.
did you
Yeah.
figure out? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, every time I go visit me or my kids, like we go visit him and we literally will go and like all his figurines, like we change
They will
them
move up.
around and
They will.
we will set up different scenes. We won't destroy anything, but we'll definitely go and like mess.
They'll
Just
rotate anything that's free. Like I've got one of the sets that has several free parts that they'll go and just turn them, rotate them. They
we
like to
won't
mess with
destroy anything.
them. No, you won't. I'm bad. I destroy mine enough. When I pick them up, they almost always break. Something breaks every single time. Just watch my Lego stream. You'll see it all the time. So anyway,
Jealousy is one of those things where, for me, my jealousy, and everybody, their base emotion for jealousy, it comes from different places. Mine is a fear of abandonment. My jealousy usually comes from that insecurity of I'm not good enough.
yep.
And this person is like either they're interacting with somebody else or like maybe or ethical non-monogamy. They might be going out on a date with somebody else. And what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not good enough and this person is prettier than me and I perceive now notice it's a perception. I perceive this person as prettier and smarter and better and funnier and all of these things better than me. So then all of a sudden I am super jealous of this situation when it's not. Well, it's jealousy bred from insecurity and abandonment.
Yeah. I think a lot of jealousy is bred from that. Yeah, the idea that that the person will abandon me, that I'm not. I deal with the same. I'm not good enough. I can't possibly. They're with me just because they haven't found someone better yet.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one sucks.
Damn, I feel that too. Getting it from both ends. I
That's what we're
mean,
here for.
Calvino, that's what we're here for, boo boo. You know us.
Yeah, we can make that happen. Oh my God.
We love us some RNGesus right there.
We do. We'll let you roll for it.
Oh, I mean, I can flip him over. It's fine. We're talking about pancakes.
Oh my God.
Sleep about to be wild.
Wait, who's sleeping? Yeah.
Yeah, jealousy is one of those weird things because either in a relationship you weren't allowed to feel jealous.
Yes.
Like you weren't allowed. You're like, why are you jealous? You're just, don't be jealous. Or you
The
did you
invalidation of jealousy.
right, or you didn't feel jealous, and then obviously you don't care. Oh, look at me! Boom! I just hit I just hit Sean's trigger. There you go. Had that right bullseye. That's cool.
Yeah. That was a big part, especially in the latter half of the relationship, and not even just hinted at, like spoken directly. If I didn't feel jealous, that means I didn't care. So any if a partner in a relationship does things on purpose to make the other person jealous, that is I see that as a big red flag, because they're trying to make them jealous because they interpret jealousy as, if they're jealous, then that means they care about me. If they're not jealous, they don't care about
If they're
me.
jealous, they're afraid of losing me, and that means I'm important.
Ooh, good point.
I can tell you because I've been on the other end of that. If they're jealous, that means I'm important enough that they don't want to lose me.
But so I'm gonna take that a step further. But why are they important? Why are you important to them? See, that's the insidious part to me. Because yeah, you may be important to them.
Listen. I don't need you like deflecting that shit back on me. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's that fear of losing it, but why is it fear? So you could take that a step further. For me, jealousy had two parts. One was, jealousy equals you're important. The other part is jealousy means you have to change. If I express jealousy to my partner, what I'm telling them is they need to do something different to prevent me to keep me from feeling jealousy. Jealousy is a catalyst for change.
That's manipulation.
That is absolutely 100%.
What is manipulations for 500, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. So that's my perspective. So whenever I was in a relationship, if I get jealous, well, conveying that jealousy means I want you to change something. And so if I look at the person and go, okay, I'm feeling jealous, but I don't want them to change anything, then I'm not going to convey the jealousy. I'm not going to convey that I felt an emotion. And that's not healthy either. Because jealousy, just because one person feels jealousy or envy, doesn't mean the other person has to change something. Because jealousy is just an emotion, it's an uncomfortable emotion that just tells you something. But it doesn't mean that the other person did something wrong. Just because I felt jealous or I felt envious doesn't mean the other person did anything wrong. But it's important for me to convey that emotion because I felt something strongly. I should tell my partner. It's important to tell my partner about that. That is something that I struggle with very much so. Conveying emotions, conveying how I feel about stuff.
What?
Because yeah, we can dive. We don't have to dive into that right now.
Oh, we don't. You don't. No. Hello.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's my therapy sessions right there. Yeah.
I don't know. Jealousy was one of those things. It was a constant in just all of my relationships. And honestly, I feel like that is a natural thing in a relationship. It is not, I think, like, oh, I'm never jealous. But yes, there are going to be times where you're going to be jealous, whether it's severe or constant or not. There are going to be times where you're going to be jealous, whether there's anything that your partner has done to make that founded or not. Jealousy is a normal emotion. I think it's what, again, like that discomfort. Calvino, one of our moderators, he's like coming in hot. All right. But I think it's one of those, like, jealousy's okay. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do wonder where that's gonna go.
I
So
imagine,
we're
like, honestly, with that greeting, I imagine like somebody just like sliding in, like, like they're sliding in on their socks, then bursting through the doors,
yeah,
going, "Hey, what's up, bitches?" Like I'm here. Like I feel like that's how I interpreted it. So I mean, we'll see.
yeah, um,
With the confetti.
yeah. Poof.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my god.
jealousy is normal. I think that I
Yeah.
and the dis pretty accurate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
There
I
you
would
go.
have done the same thing. That's
Yeah.
exactly how I would have done it. So what's up, bitches? Big grand entrance. Um,
Yeah. Okay. It's normal. So jealousy is
I
absolutely a
think
normal
all
emotion.
uncomfortable emotions. I think, and we've talked about this
Yeah.
before, and I think that's within friendships too. I think we ignore that. We talk a lot about romantic
Mm,
relationships a lot,
we do.
because that is a very prevalent thing to talk about. But we often ignore our relationships when we say relationships. It also involves the people like our families or our friends. Like we can be jealous of our friends. How often
Yeah.
have we been jealous of our friends because our friends decided to do something or whatnot? And we can feel angry at them. And it is all in
Yeah.
how we handle all of those uncomfortable emotions within that relationship, aka our friendship. Not all of it has to be about romantic love. Romantic love just
Very
happens to
true.
be very important to a lot of people, but some people aren't dating anybody. And you still have to apply the same principles to your friendships as well.
That's true because you can feel abandonment in your friendships too, right? So
Shh.
yeah.
I don't need you calling me out.
So
I
anyway,
don't, you know what?
moving on.
I don't need you calling me out on that. No, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just thinking like because you have your best friend and you and your best friend do a lot of stuff together and there's you share certain things together. But then what happens when someone else, a new friend or an existing friend starts to become part of that where your best friend begins going to that other person, you can feel abandoned because now they're not coming to you. That love, that appreciation, that friendship has been broken in two, and part of that has been given to someone else. Because we grow up perceiving as you said before, the finite amount of something, the finite amount of love, the finite
We
amount
talked
of
about that on
affection.
Friday about ethical
Yeah,
non-monogamy.
we did.
Like so many people, like when a lot of monogamists, they believe that they have a finite amount of love and they only can give it to that one person. And
Hmm.
when some people, especially those in poly, but like and when I try to explain non-monogamy to somebody who doesn't understand it or maybe is new to it and that type of thing, not saying that I am like the poly queen because I am not. I'm not, but I've
Yeah.
also done a lot of work on myself and my mental and emotional health of how I approach,
Hmm.
like how I feel about ethical non-monogamy. Um,
Sorry.
is I explain it as a friendship. It's like you have your best friends, or you have a group of friends. That doesn't necessarily mean you love one more than the other, or you love them differently, and that's okay. That person brings that, because they're each their own individual. That one person that you're friends with brings something to your life, and this other person B, also brings something to your life, but maybe brings something different to your life. Maybe but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is, oh, this person gets a piece and this person gets a piece. These people can get all of you.
Hmm.
It's not a finite. You don't have one friend. I mean, some people do. Some people have one friend, and that's okay. That's okay. Again, with monogamy, just and friendships. I mean, that's okay. Your number of friends is all about your own personal comfort and
Hmm.
whatever. Some people have a ton of friends, and that's fine too. But everybody brings their own special part to your life. That doesn't subtract that person just because that one person brings something special to your life and somebody else brings something else to your life does not subtract from what you have
Ooh,
with person A.
that's a good point. Yeah, that's that's and it's one thing to understand that. It's another thing to accept that and believe it. Like that's the part that I struggle with because I have abandonment wounds too, and so like I can sit here and go, yeah, that makes sense, absolutely, that's the case. But when it happens, it doesn't mean I'm not going to have a reaction to it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to experience that emotion and go, okay, well, this is okay. So this is why I'm feeling it. This is what's happening. I'm not suppressing that emotion. I'm accepting that that's there, and I just understand why it's there, and it's okay because I've the what I've seen, especially like with non-monogamous people, is they still deal with jealousy and
Oh,
envy
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's not it's not just a monogamy thing.
Because it's a
They just
natural, normal emotion.
Yes, absolutely. I think the difference is in healthy non-monogamy, it's they communicate it, and that's what's such a struggle for me is I have such a hard time communicating that I'm feeling jealous or envious or hey, can we have some more time? I'm feeling a certain way. Can we have some more? Can we spend some more time together? That's such a struggle for me to communicate that, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship. Um,
Eric
and I think that's a difference. Mhm.
Eric says, transparency is possibly important for such poly relationships to work. Transparency is important for all relationships to work. But yeah, doubly so for poly relationships, yes. For non-monogamous relationships, yes. Transparency absolutely is the cornerstone, and communication is the cornerstone of ethical non-monogamy and poly relationships. But transparency is important even in monogamous relationships, because I learned that from learning that real quick,
Yeah.
and just all relationships, transparency. It's so difficult. And transparency, honestly, is very, very difficult for a lot of people, most people. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too. I was not very transparent.
Neither was I.
And I think, though, we learned not to be transparent, one, because of the church. Because the church is like, those feelings do not exist. That part of you does not exist. So we're going to learn to hide and leave that dual life. And also it's not safe. Being transparent is not safe.
It's not safe to communicate your emotions because my emotions, when I grew up in the church, my emotions were invalidated by pretty much everyone around me because I grew up immersed in the church. Almost everyone that I knew and was friends with that I talked to was in the church. And so I would get, you need to pray more. You need to read your Bible more. You need to there was no validation of the emotion that, that's normal. That's a normal experience. It's a normal emotion to experience. That's understandable. There was never any of that. It was, you need to pray. You need to pray that away. That's pretty much every emotion was, oh, you just need to go to God. Really? So if that's always my answer, if that's always the answer I receive, why would I talk about it anymore? Because I know what I'm going to get.
Right.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yay, trauma!
Yay, trauma. Here we are.
Sean's like, okay, now we're done. I'm done. It is, though, however, it is that time. Right. Strange how the church asks you to love a being you can't see and not hate people who did loathsome things. So you're always a bundle of repressed and phony feelings. Oh,
Eric,
Layering it in, nailing the lid on the coffin right there. Yes, absolutely. That's pretty much the premise of this entire podcast.
And here we are. Great way to summarize it. That's what we dealt with. Absolutely.
Yes. You gotta trust.
It's that cognitive dissonance of emotions, a cognitive dissonance that we lived with and accepted. And we wonder why later in life we have the trauma we do.
Facts, yeah. You're laying it in. But it is about that time. So this was a good conversation. It was a good conversation. Yeah. And then we welcome to all our new people.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
We love to have you. Thank you for joining
on our weekly podcast.
Yep, we're here every Sunday.
Every Sunday. And then we have Tuesdays.
Yep.
Tuesdays.
You want me to throw some links?
You can throw some links if you want.
All right. So we're gonna throw some links. So we're part of Team AoA. So Team AoA is a group of us that we do podcasts together, we game together, we hang out, we support each other. So you're on the Nerd Mame channel right now. You probably know that. Those are links for the other channels. I know. I put that. Yeah. So the Team AoA one, that is the group. So whenever we do something as a big group.
Yeah, and if you're looking for Nerd Mom Ace, I'm on at Nerd Mom Ace on all my socials. So
yeah. So follow them if you're interested. Team AoA is where we do our group stuff. So Tuesday we have an RPG podcast.
Our group stuff.
Our group stuff. Yeah, we have group stuff. We do. So on Tuesdays is our RPG podcast where we roll a d20 and it runs or ruins our lives. Yeah, so it's 3 Bards and a Dragon on Tuesdays at 7:30 Eastern. And then that's on the Team AoA channel. And then on Wednesday is Let's Build with Pep Up. That's me. I do a Lego build. So you see all the Legos behind me? Yeah, I'm working on the D&D set right now. So Wednesday at 7:30 is Lego build. And then Thursday we have some friends who have a YouTube channel. There it is. They have their own geeky podcast where they talk about all things geek. Very interesting, informative, and entertaining discussion. So if you want to follow them on YouTube, there's that link. And that's on Thursday. And that brings us back to all of our planned activities on Sunday. Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern for more waking up. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, and we have a Discord.
Yeah, we did community game night. Nobody showed up for community game night till the end.
Yeah, we had a fantastic conversation.
We did. There's a 3-hour stream on my channel. That was pretty badass.
We did the Jackbox Naughty Pack. We played that for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then we had a really lively conversation after that.
We did. It was lively. It was something.
It was definitely something.
I should have put on my calendar. It's fine. We want to do it again. So we might try again this Friday. Because we did do it sort of last minute, but we try again and do community game night. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was definitely the Naughty Pack.
I came home and died. Did you say there was a lot of spanking? There was a lot of spanking involved.
There was a lot of spanking involved. Yeah.
Oh my God. And with that, thank you guys for joining us for waking up, and we will see you guys later. Yeah. All right.
Bye. Everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Did you really just high five over me?
No, we didn't.
Okay, we're live.
Hey.
Hello.
Last week,
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
Okay.
The bear's coming with the cup and spoon.
That's a straight up PBR for the table.
Yeah.
I think it called.
She ain't judging us at all.